I've got a lot of bases to make for my Minas Tirith warriors for my Lord of the Rings army, and I wanted them to blend into the table that I've made for them already. G'day everyone, Viv here. I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back. This is a fairly simple project. We're essentially going to cut up some plastic card, glue it on the base, add some texture and paint it. It's a pretty simple process, but I'm trying to get used to just capturing as much as I can while I'm at the studio, and this was one of those projects that made sense. I'm also going to film the process of making some resin molds of these, or some silicone molds to take resin casts. But then, because I'm a lunatic, I'm going to go one step further and make a silicone spin casting mold so I can cast some bases out of metal. I'm not a massive fan of plastic figures, and having a metal base on the bottom of them is going to add a whole bunch of weight. I know there are other ways to add weight to the base of a miniature, but like I said, I'm a lunatic with a spin caster. So this process is pretty straightforward. I've taken some 1mm black plastic card and I'm cutting it up. You can do this with a knife. You don't need to cut all the way through. You can just, score it and snap it. Or you can use a scroll saw. I've got a Dremel scroll saw, which is amazing, and I've been using it lots lately. But as I said, you can just score this stuff and snap it. It's pretty easy to work with. Or if you're a lunatic like I am with a warehouse full of lasers, you can draw up your own file and then run it off real quick to make the process even easier. This file doesn't take very long to cut, so in between a little bit of downtime, I just ran this off. It's going to make it much easier for me when I need to make all the masters for these bases that I'm going to need to cast. Obviously, if you don't have a piece of equipment like this, then you can just score this with your knife and snap out all the pieces. I love this glue. This is Revell Contactor Professional. It's a plastic glue that melts and bonds plastics together. And because our base is plastic and we're using some plastic card, some high impact polystyrene, it is going to fuse those two parts together. And it's just a matter now of picking the pieces and putting them on the base. If you use a X-Acto knife, you can just gently tap those plastic pieces and the knife will grab them and you can just drop them on the base. Using a pair of clippers, I roughly trim the base. Not so it's flush with the top of the base, but just so it's round. I don't want it overhanging the bottom of the base, but I want it overhanging the top a little bit. And then I very gently just file the edge. I'm not smoothing it off. I'm just giving it a gentle file to remove the damage caused by the clippers. This is super scary to watch, and it's mildly scary to do. Make sure that you've got a sharp blade. There's probably a more sensible way to do this than the way that I'm doing it, but essentially we're just taking chunks out of the tiles that we've glued on the top, just to give the base a little bit of interest and some texture for when we dry brush. I'm going to help add some texture to my bases by giving them just a very gentle squirt with some granite effect from Dulux. I use this quite a bit on loads of different sorts of things, and it's just going to help give us some interest when we dry brush this base. After I've given the base a quick undercoat with some black primer, I find that a piece of blue tack is really useful to help hold the base down while I'm dry brushing it so it's not flying all over the place or I'm having to hold it with my fingers. I've chosen a couple of different colors here, a light tannish color, a brown, and some white, which just doesn't want to come out of that bottle. With a little bit of force, I get it out and I start painting. I start with a brown base coat because it gives a nice warm depth to the base. I didn't think I'd need some grey, but as I was going through painting, I thought, I need that in there to help blend in the white colour. And then I start messing around like an artist, trying to blend together different sorts of paints. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just in a hurry. I'm a very impatient person, and I can't be bothered waiting for the base to dry between layers. And subsequently, you start blending colours together, wet blending them together. This is why I'm always getting that hairdryer out. Just hurry up, hurry up. But, it's slowly getting there. I'm hope that when I do all the other bases, they're all going to be the same. Quick final highlight with some white finishes the base off, and it's looking pretty good. I'm happy with this process so far, and I'm really looking forward to getting into the moulding and casting stages. Quickly run around the base with some flat black paint. Now I bought a tin of 4 litres of flat black paint from my hardware store, and I honestly recommend that to anyone. If you use a lot of flat black paint, buy a big tin of it from the hardware store. I'm only putting some plastic figures on these bases, so I'm not going to worry about pinning them. I'm just going to put some super glue on there, pop him on there, let it dry, and he should be good. I've got loads of figures like that. And it's really as simple as that. Like I said, cut up some plastic card and glue it to the base. You could use some different thicknesses of plastic card. I've only used 1mm, but some 0.75mm plastic card mixed in there would help give a little bit of height differentiation between the flagstones, which I think would be cool. But I'm really looking forward to the next part, and that's making molds both for resin casting and metal casting. I'm lucky enough that I've got a full casting room with all the equipment that you could ever need for resin and metal casting. So hope you stick around for that. That'll be coming out soon. Thanks for tuning in as always. I hope you're keeping well, and I'll catch you soon. See ya.